Building your jazz vocabulary on the bass guitar can be frustrating, which is mainly due to the problem of making the connection from a theoretical perspective to the music that you want to play. Remember, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to practice longer, but instead practice smarter. In this lesson, I'm going to share 4 ways to building a faster jazz vocabulary that'll help you to apply newly acquired knowledge with greater clarity. But before we get to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about harmony. Interestingly, one of the ways that we can use to enhance our line construction is by using simple diatonic substitutions of the chords that we're playing over. So if we take a C minor 7 chord, instead of just arpeggiating the chord, I can start my line by playing an E flat major 7 chord over the C minor 7 chord. And then to complete the line in a bar 4/4, I can just play the root flat 3/5 and the flat 7. And that's going to sound something like this. So why does this work? It works because the E flat major 7 chord is the 3, 5, 7, and 9 of the C minor 7 chord. Now, if you're a little behind the curve with diatonic substitutions, then you've got to get my book, Functional Harmonic Concepts, where I go into a complete deep dive about this subject. This line also works melodically because the 9 voice leads by a whole step down to the root, creating a seamless melodic contour perfectly outlining the C minor 7 chord. This brings us to the first way of building a faster jazz vocabulary, which is simply understanding the concept that you're trying to learn. So the concept that we're learning is how to apply simple diatonic substitutions over a chord type, which is what we've just gone through. If you don't know the intervallic formula for the chord that you're trying to learn, then that's going to cause a problem. If you don't know what the notes are and where they are on the bass, then this is going to present another problem. And if you aren't aware about the different rhythmic values that you're trying to learn to fit into the form of how long each chord lasts, then another problem raises its ugly head. Remember, the first stage is where you're identifying and learning the core skills. This step is essential to get down before moving to the next one. The second way to building a faster jazz vocabulary is by redesigning the concept. So how do we do that? How about learning the original idea over a selection of different chord types? Let's go ahead and check out how this looks over a dominant 7th chord. So if I take C7, I've got the C, E, G, B flat. That's the root 3, 5, and flat 7. So we start on the 3, 5, 7, and 9, and then go to the root 3, 5, flat 7. We're going to have this same idea. So I'm going to start here on the 3, 5, 7, 9. Go down by a whole step to the root, and then go 3, 5, and then the flat 7. So the whole line. Remember, over the minor 7, I had this. Over the dominant 7, I have this. And then if we take a look at how this looks over the major 7, again, I'm taking the 3, 5, 7, and 9, which is E, G, B, and D. And then I'm playing the root, the 3, the 5, and the 7. So again, we have to understand the chord formulas. We have to understand the notes before we can take this any further. But once you've got that down, you can see how I've taken that simple idea and just the one idea I've multiplied another 2 times so it fits over all 3 of those chord types. Now, that's a really cool concept to get down. So that's all it takes to redesign a concept that you've already learned. Remember, all we're doing is redesigning the original idea systematically to generate a different outcome. The third way to building a faster jazz vocabulary is by comparing the concept to something that you already know. So let's take a chord progression that you probably already know, which is a 2-5-1 progression. When we start to link the line that we've previously learned with chords that move up in fourths, it creates what's called 7-3 voice leading. So, for instance, if I play the 2 minor 7 going to the 5 7, you're going to notice at the transition point from one bar to the next that it goes from 7 to 3. And then this will continue, this voice leading pattern, all the way to the 1 major 7 chord. So if we take a look at this, what we've got in C major, I've got a D minor 7, a G7, and then a C major 7. So we're going to start on F major 7. Why? Because that's the 3, 5, 7, and 9 of the D minor 7. So I have 3, 5, 7, 9, then root 3, 5, 7. Now we're here at 7. I'm going to move down by a half step to 3. That's what I'm talking about, that 7 to 3 voice leading. So then I go 3, 5, 7, 9 of the G7 chord, and then the root 3, 5, 7. Then I'm going to go from the G7 chord to 3 of the C major 7 chord. So then I go 3, 5, 7, 9, and then root 3, 5, 7. So if we put that all together, it's going to sound like this. So all we're doing is making the connection between one experience to another that you've already fully understood. The fourth way to building a faster jazz vocabulary revolves around composing something based on the concept. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to come up with something that's going to be on your next solo record. It just means that you have to get a little creative and get the concept out of your comfort zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first 8 bars of All the Things You Are, and I'm going to write a line that is using this concept that's going to fit over all the changes. This is a perfect tune to do this on because all the chords are moving up and forth, so all of this is going to work and all the voice leading is going to connect together as we've done so far. So it starts on F minor 7 and it goes to B flat minor 7, then E flat 7, then A flat major 7. Then it goes to D flat major 7, then G7, and then C major 7. So we're in the key of A flat in the beginning, and then it modulates to the key of C. But we start on 6 minor 7, then 2 minor 7, then 5 7, then to 1 major 7, 4 major 7, 5 7 to 1 in the key of C. Okay, so I'm going to start on the F minor 7. I'm going to play the 3, 5, 7, and 9. And then the root 3, 5, and 7. Then it goes to B flat minor 7, and I'm going to do the same thing. Goes to E flat 7, and I'm going to do the same thing. It goes to the A flat major 7. Then it goes to D flat major 7. Then it goes down to G7. And then it goes to C major 7. So what's really cool about that is the way this all links together and all those voice leading concepts are working from one chord to the next. So if I just put that into context, this is what I'm going to have. Okay, so now it's your turn to put these 4 steps into action with everything that you learn right now. Don't wait for the future to catch yourself unprepared. Until next time, practice smart, work hard, and play creatively.